Today, I felt like putting on makeup and responding to this tag called Tarot Community Build. Livy of Crescent Dreams Tarot made this tag a while back, and I've always wanted to respond to it. So I finally have the energy and the motivation to do it. Even though I'm like a year and a half or 2 years into Tarottube, I'm not that new here. I still wanted to hop on this intro tag. I think tags where people are sharing about themselves are so fun to watch and to listen to because it's really cool knowing that there are so many different kinds of people out in the world and we're all here connecting as people and over tarot and again as people with all of our different interests and all of our different backgrounds and experiences. It's just a lot of fun. I pulled out a lot of different decks here, so I'm excited to just share some cards and share some decks in this video. The first question, name, pronouns, channel name. Sarah here. My name's Sarah, my pronouns are she, her, and my channel name is Tangy Tarot, actually because my last name is Tang. So Sarah Tang, Tangy Tarot, very creative, right? Number 2, what first got you into tarot? And if you have a channel, why did you create it? So, in 2020, I was laid off from work. We were in a lockdown from the pandemic. I got this ad on Instagram for this really beautiful deck that was starting to go through a Kickstarter campaign, a crowdfunding campaign. So it needed funds and needed people to have eyes on it and pitch in money for the deck to get funded, to get created. This is what the deck looks like. I think it's so funny that this was targeted to me. I feel like Instagram knew what it was doing, targeting a rainbow colored deck box to women in their 20s, it's rainbow. I couldn't resist. This is the Spread Machine Oracle, or now it's named the Spread Crafters Oracle. It's basically a deck of all spread prompts. So yeah, rainbow deck. No wonder it got targeted to me. From there, I looked into Kimberly Sand's shop, or her shop name is Fable's Den, and I basically decided to get her deck, The Way of the Panda Tarot, which is illustrated by Celia LaBelle. When I saw these panda images, I just fell in love with them immediately. Or not images, they're illustrations. When I saw these illustrations, I just fell in love. They're so sweet, they're so adorable, and yet they're also so powerful. It just really sung to me in a way that, not many things have sung to me before. Even though I knew diddly squat about tarot, I decided I just was gonna get this deck. I didn't care if I was going to actually learn tarot or not. I just wanted a pretty card deck of pandas. If I didn't understand how to use it, that's cool. I just wanted to have a fun card deck to play with, some new hobby or interest in the pandemic. So that was my first tarot deck. How I got into tarot and actually learning more about it was eventually finding people on the tarot side of YouTube. The first tarot YouTube person I found was Kimberly Sand. I loved all of her videos about creative tarot journaling. She had such a creative way of explaining the cards and explaining the journey of the ace through tens of each suit or the different major arcana as well. It just really sparked my imagination and it got me really interested in the tarot. The next people I remember subscribing to on YouTube were Katie Flowers and Lisa Pepez. I loved all of the discussions that they had about the Tarottube side of tarot. I felt like I got really immersed in Tarottube because my first videos that I watched weren't only about the meanings of the cards, but also Katie Flowers' videos about her responses to discussions are nice washed decks good or bad, or underrated decks, or talking about her personal journey and how she got to tarot or how she found value in these nice washed decks. It is so fascinating to me that there are so many discussion type videos on tarot. The last YouTube sphere I watched a lot was MakeupTube. With MakeupTube, the videos that I had watched at the time in the 2010s, a lot of those videos was just makeup product based. So products you liked, didn't like, how to use these products. So for me, it was really fascinating to go from product-based videos and discussions to tarot, which is they're discussing tropes and concepts and types of decks and what people find value in for personal growth or not personal growth. So that was all really fascinating to me. Tarottube really helped me get into tarot at the very beginning. Second part of this question is, if you have a channel, why did you create it? Essentially, I made a channel because I just wanted to express myself and I wanted to have free reign, I guess, over how to express myself. Talking out loud can be easier and more stimulating than just writing comments. Also, I was making and editing videos ever since I was in high school. In high school, I learned how to use video editing programs, and then in college, I literally majored in film, TV, and took video production classes. And even now, I work in the entertainment industry, where I'm also working with editing softwares. Granted, even though I have knowledge and I've worked with setting up cameras and lights and putting together videos and films from start to finish, it definitely is still a whole different beast doing it for YouTube and for personal enjoyment rather than on a big scale production set. But yeah, all that to say, creating a channel felt pretty easy for me and not as daunting as, say, creating a blog. Also, even though I could share these thoughts or these ideas with my friends, I didn't want to just ramble on to my friend for an hour about like what my favorite decks are or my thoughts on the latest decks that I've got or my thoughts on like which major arcana need to be revised or anything like that. It just felt like too niche or too niche for just one friend to hear. So that's why I had this channel. Now I can just talk out into the void and whoever wants to watch can watch. So yeah, welcome to my really long podcast that you opted into. Next question. What is your tarot aesthetic? What kinds of decks are you attracted to? I pulled out a few decks here as examples because I love seeing decks and I love showing decks. Generally, I prefer decks that are colorful and modern, but also a bit timeless, and most importantly, very intuitive. They actually spark some sort of imagination or connecting the dots kind of ideas in me. I guess that's what intuition means, right? So some examples. One is the Spacious Tarot. Here's a few cards. The Four of Cups sitting, kind of being okay where they're at instead of being in all the water, in all the motion. Seven of Pentacles, kind of growing some leaves here on the pumpkin. Three of Wands. I know that this deck can be difficult for some people to read because the minors don't seem that expressive, but for me, I can understand them enough. Three of Wands, it looks like lighting your path, but you can only see a few steps at a time. So modern, colorful, and intuitive. Here's another example, the Fountain Tarot. This one is not colorful, but it's timeless and it's intuitive to me. These cards feel expressive to me, and there's a lot for me to ponder in each card. There's a lot of room to contemplate in each card as well. I generally do like decks that let me contemplate. So those couple decks have been mainstays in my collection for the first like 1 or 2 years. Surprisingly though, I've gotten more into busier decks. So for example, the Spectral World Tarot here, extremely colorful, extremely loud, and there's a lot going on in each card. But if I focus on like the certain elements, I can actually kind of see the essence of the card. But definitely there's a lot of color in each card. But I've been enjoying using it because it's a different change of pace from the decks that I've been used to. Another busy deck that I got this year is the Spirit Keepers Tarot. I heard that this was going out of print, so I decided to get a copy for myself. It is so stimulating to look at. Benabel Wen did such an incredible job with this deck. There's so much detail and there's so much like holisticness in this deck, I guess. I'm really inspired to study this deck and read the book and just get to know it a lot more. Kind of getting more knowledge about like tarot and cultures around the world and through history just through this deck. So these are the 3 fools that Benabel Wen has included in the deck. The Initiate, the Keeper, and the Seeker. So yeah, really surprising, you know, for me to enjoy this kind of deck compared to this kind of deck in the first couple years. Next question. Which tarot system is your favorite and which do you want to learn? I am a Rider-Waite-Smith type of pal. I just love the scenic illustrations and it just feels very comfortable and very familiar for me. I am interested in learning Tarot de Marseille later on because the idea of reading based on numerology and not image is really fascinating to me, even though I feel like I do incorporate some numerology in my tarot system, my tarot readings already. But yeah, in the future, I am really curious to learn about what Marseille reading is like compared to reading Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm also interested in learning Lenormand in the future. I know it's a separate card system or divination system than tarot. The idea of Lenormand being more straightforward and easy to read, supposedly, than tarot is really fascinating to me. I find it fascinating that across all of the decks, they'll have the same like 36 cards and they're all kind of meaning the same thing. They're just illustrated differently. It's very different from tarot, where people can illustrate the cards in vastly different ways across all the different decks, and they might mean something slightly different. Next question here, top 3 favorite major arcana. I pulled out the Playful Heart Tarot because I have been needing this kind of colorful sweetness in my life recently. My 3 favorite major arcana, in this order probably, are Judgment. I love the idea of releasing the old baggage and making room for the new and feeling rejuvenated and all that good rebirthing stuff. I love the Moon. A lot of Moon cards will just have some like weird stuff. I love this major arcana as a reminder that I don't have to know all the answers all the time. There can be comfort in just having confusion, having unclarity. It's okay for things to be a bit messy and a bit unclear before they can get clear, or if they ever get clear. And the Magician, literally just making whatever you want happen. No holds barred, man. You do literally whatever you want. You want to go for a run? Just go for a run. You want to go for a 3-day trip by yourself? You can do it. You want to make a YouTube channel? You can do it. You can do whatever you want. Just don't hold back. I love the Magician energy. Next question, favorite suit of the minors and why? I love the swords suit most. I know that a lot of people find difficulty in the sword suit because it can seem harsh, but I have so many negative thoughts about myself that I am used to the harshness. So to have the sword suit be a literal representation of how maybe your thoughts are kind of limiting your reality or shaping your reality a bit too much, somehow that's actually really comforting for me. I can fall into the trap where I think my thoughts are facts and they determine everything I'll ever be or I'll ever do or feel or think. It's helpful to visually see that just as much as there are negative swords cards, there are also many positive swords cards. Just like any other card or any other suit in the tarot, there's plenty of other negative cards across all the other suits. And ever since I was young, I've always really identified with like the thought, the logic part of being a human. I always thought of myself as like extremely logical. I loved doing logic puzzles. I still love doing logic puzzles. I love doing math puzzles, and just puzzles are a really fun way for me to pass time. So I do spend a lot of my time in the thought realm, in the swords realm. So yeah, that's why the swords in general is just my favorite suit. Next question, which of the court cards would you consider as your significator? I don't use significator cards in readings because I just want to be able to pull from the entire deck when I do readings. I don't like to pull out specific cards in advance beforehand. But in general, when I first started learning, I really associated myself with the Queen of Swords, again, swords being like rational and logical. But over the years, as I've wanted to like love myself more and allow myself to be imperfect, I really just identified with these two. And I want to keep identifying and embodying this kind of energy. I love these two knight energies. The knight energy being associated with like being a teenager, being adolescent, being imperfect and unpolished, but still very gung-ho. I want that gung-ho energy. I want to remind myself how beautiful that gung-ho, imperfect, unpolished energy can be. It can be so fun and so freeing to allow myself to just be free, be uninhibited. Look at this Knight of Wands, just pointing forward. They've already climbed up into this tree. Who knows how high it is? And they're just pointing at their next like project to tackle. I love that energy. And this Knight of Cups, like following their heart, following the romance, following the beauty, allowing themselves to just enjoy the beautiful little things in life, like this butterfly. I love that energy too. I really feel like Knight of Wands, Knight of Cups is where it's at for me right now. I also have a card as like an ideal significator, which is the Queen of Wands. I associate Queen of Wands with being radiant, being so bright inside that nothing can tamper your fire, temper your energy, tamper your passion. And as someone who has a lot of self-criticism and who can be sensitive to rejection or criticism from the outside, this is something that I aspire to be as well. Just have radiance and inner fire and inner passion and just be an unbothered queen. Next question, is cardstock a big deal for you? Nah, not really. I learned to shuffle my decks in the way that works for me, regardless of what the cardstock looks like or feels like. I will say I generally don't like gilding on decks because I think that machine-made gilding can be very stiff. So I do prefer decks that are not gilded because they're just generally more enjoyable to shuffle, and also I can just color the edges on my own, like the Spacious Tarot. It had white edges, just uncolored edges, so I colored it blue and it matches the backs really well. But still, in general, not really a big deal. Next question, do you read for others? In the first few years that I was learning tarot, I was really excited to read for other people. I read for free, and then I think 2 years in, I did take some tips. But after that, I did not want to take tips anymore because I still felt like I had a lot to learn, and I didn't feel comfortable accepting money because I felt like I hadn't reached the standard, this imaginary standard for myself in being able to read for money. I've done readings one-on-one like at parties. I've done readings one-on-one in voice call or in video call, done readings like for people in front of like a live audience. Like in a group voice call, I just do readings for whoever asks. I've also recorded video readings and sent people those. I've also done documents or like typed up document readings to send to people. So I've done a fair few different medium types methods of readings. But for now, I don't read for others. Sometimes while doing a reading, I'll have this feeling of like, man, every card, every reading just feels the same to me. Like motivational, you can do this, like hurrah. For some reason, I just feel kind of bored of that. So for now, I'm just focusing on learning the cards more so that if, or maybe when, I get back to doing readings for other people, I can find different ways to actually explain the cards and to connect the cards together in ways that queerants will be receptive to. And I also will not feel like I'm just typing the same like general motivational messages each reading. And I also am just getting more general life experience and connecting with people outside of doing readings so that in the future, when I get back to doing readings for other people, I have like more life experience and I can try to empathize and contextualize cards better. I think that reading for others when I'm like 25, 26 is a lot different from me now trying to read for others when I'm 29 or almost 30. Last question here. Number one deck you are excited to have come out this year. I got a deck to show you. This is the Mom Tarot. It is a Vietnamese tarot deck that my pal Katie bought for me during her recent trip to Vietnam. Oh my god, let me show you what's in here. It is a round deck, and in the box, there's like some fabric kind of outlining the box or covering the box here. So this is a Vietnamese food-themed deck. The story of this deck is that there is a bunny who's going on a journey through all these Vietnamese foods, and the bunny's name is Mom. So this deck, again, made in Vietnam, illustrated, created by Vietnamese people, it features all food, and I recognize like maybe 25% of these foods. There are so many foods in here that I did not know existed, and they look so delicious. Bánh bèo, I love bánh bèo. Oh my god, it's delicious. Cơm tấm, the Empress. This makes so much sense. Look how decadent this plate of food is. We got bánh mì for the Emperor. We all love bánh mì, right? And then moving on just to the suits and stuff, we have the cups and all the different suits. The cups is related to coffee and just cup-related foods. And then we have like the pentacles, which is all like doughy stuff. And the swords, which is like, I don't know, soups? I think it's soups and stuff. Oh, this is a fish eyeball. Yeah, I know. We have some weird foods around the globe. This is so cool. I plan on doing a video with my spouse later on where we walk through the deck and we just talk about like some of these foods that we know and recognize. I am just so ecstatic that I have this deck. I learned about it earlier this year. I saw it was in pre-order status, and my friend Katie went to Vietnam and just bought it in store. It's such a special experience to know that like she bought this deck in person and I didn't have to pay for like international shipping or deal with that kind of packaging and stuff. So this deck is so cool. It's so cultural. I'm so happy that it exists. Oh my god, as a Viet diaspora person, I'm just so happy to have this. Oh my god. All right. So that's the main questions. Now for the lightning round questions. Okay, here we go. Coffee or tea? Tea. Preferably chrysanthemum. Colors or monochrome? Colors for sure. Cats or dogs? Cats. Flora or fauna? To understand and have as symbolism, I prefer fauna and animals, but to experience out in the world, flora is okay too. I like going to botanical gardens. Favorite time of day? Night. I love nighttime. I work night shift as well, and at night when everyone has gone to bed, even my spouse has gone to bed, it is so quiet. It's so nice for my brain. And lastly, favorite things besides tarot? Stationery, journals, sending and receiving mail. Sailor Moon! I knit sometimes, and I crochet. All right, well, that was the Tarot Community Build tag. Hope you loved the energy, the free-flowing energy I had today. If you're interested in being a pen pal, sending mail back and forth, could be letters, could be postcards, could be stationery, let me know. I always love opportunities to send more mail. All right, well, that is all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.